Stop scrolling for just 10 seconds. Because this isn't just another motivational story, this is a reminder of something most people forget while chasing success and comparing their lives to others. And it's the story of an ordinary American kid from a small town who had no special advantages, no money, no connections, and no spotlight, only a quiet desire to change his life. And growing up in a place where survival was normal and dreaming felt risky, he wasn't the smartest in class or the most talented. He was average by every visible standard, often overlooked, rarely praised, and constantly reminded, directly or indirectly, that success belonged to other people. But late at night, staring at the ceiling of his small room, he imagined a future where he wasn't trapped by circumstances. And when he discovered technology, not because he was gifted but because no one else wanted those old computers, he slowly began teaching himself, only to be laughed at, doubted, and warned that people like him don't make it in competitive industries. And there were moments he almost believed them, moments when quitting felt logical, especially when college hit him hard, when he failed exams, received rejection emails, and felt the weight of being behind everyone else. But instead of waiting for motivation, he chose discipline, showing up early, staying late, working when no one was watching, and learning through repeated failure, understanding that success isn't built through confidence but through consistency. And while others chased quick wins and visible progress, he accepted slow growth, invisible effort, and long periods of uncertainty, sending out hundreds of applications with little response, facing interviews that ended in embarrassment, yet refusing to let rejection define his worth, until finally a small opportunity came along, not glamorous, not well-paying, but real. And instead of chasing status, he chased growth, making mistakes, fixing them, learning responsibility, and building resilience. And when that company eventually failed, he didn't panic, because failure had already taught him how to stand back up. And when the next opportunity arrived, he was ready, not because he was lucky, but because he had prepared during the seasons no one applauded. And over time, without noise or hype, his life changed. Not overnight, not dramatically, but steadily, giving him control over his future, the ability to support his family, and the peace of knowing he earned his place. And if you feel behind, invisible, or like everyone else got a head start, this story is for you. Because success isn't loud, progress isn't fast, and dreams don't care where you start. And in America, and anywhere in the world, your future doesn't belong to the lucky. It belongs to the one who keeps going, the one who shows up tired, uncertain, and unrecognized, the one who keeps building when results are delayed. Because most people don't fail due to lack of ability. They fail because they quit during the phase where growth feels pointless. And if you're struggling right now, doubting yourself, or wondering whether your effort even matters, understand this. The days you feel stuck are often the days you're building something real, something strong enough to last. And while the world celebrates instant success, real success is formed through patience, discipline, and persistence. And one day, when your life finally makes sense looking backward, you'll realize that the moments you almost quit were the moments that shaped you the most. And even if no one is watching, even if no one believes, even if progress feels slow, keep going, because staying consistent when quitting feels easier is the most powerful decision you will ever make. And as life continued, he began to understand something most people never realize until it's too late. That success is not a destination you arrive at one day with fireworks and applause, but a quiet evolution that happens when you consistently choose growth over comfort, even on days when comfort feels deserved. And there were still mornings when he woke up tired, still nights when doubt crept in uninvited, still moments when comparison tried to convince him that he wasn't doing enough, fast enough, or big enough. But the difference now was that doubt no longer controlled his actions, because he had learned that feelings don't get to decide your future. Choices do. And while others waited to feel confident before taking steps forward, he moved forward despite uncertainty, understanding that confidence is built after action, not before it. And slowly he began to notice how many people around him were stuck not because they lacked talent, but because they were afraid of being uncomfortable, afraid of failing publicly, afraid of looking foolish while learning, and afraid of committing to something that didn't promise immediate results. And he realized that society rewards appearances, but life rewards consistency. Because showing up once can get attention, but showing up repeatedly builds skill, character, and trust. And this awareness changed how he approached everything, from work to relationships to his own inner dialogue, as he stopped asking, "What if I fail?" and started asking, "What if I keep going?" Because failure had already proven itself survivable, but regret was far more dangerous. And as time passed, he saw people he once envied burn out, change paths, or give up altogether, not because they were weaker, but because they expected the journey to be easier than it was. And when reality didn't match their expectations, they blamed circumstances instead of adjusting their mindset, while he accepted that difficulty was part of the price of a meaningful life, and instead of resenting struggle, he used it as feedback, refining his habits, strengthening his discipline, and sharpening his focus. And with every challenge, he became calmer, more grounded, and more patient, understanding that panic doesn't solve problems, but persistence often does. And eventually he reached a place many people chase without realizing what it costs, a place of stability, not just financially, but mentally and emotionally, where he no longer needed validation to feel worthy, no longer measured his progress by others' timelines, and no longer feared being misunderstood, because he knew who he was and why he kept going, and that clarity became his greatest advantage, allowing him to make decisions based on long-term values instead of short-term emotions. And when setbacks still occurred, as they always do, he didn't interpret them as signs of failure, but as part of the natural rhythm of growth, understanding that even the strongest structures are tested before they're trusted. And perhaps the most important lesson he learned was that no one is coming to save you, no perfect moment arrives to grant permission, and no external validation is required to begin, because the responsibility for your life ultimately belongs to you. And while that realization can feel heavy, it is also incredibly freeing, because it means that regardless of where you started, what you lacked, or how many times you've failed, you still have the power to choose persistence over excuses, effort over avoidance, and progress over paralysis. And if you're listening to this right now feeling behind, overwhelmed, or unsure of your direction, understand that clarity often comes from movement, not waiting, and purpose reveals itself through action, not overthinking. And the version of you that keeps showing up today, tired, uncertain, imperfect, is already doing something powerful by refusing to quit. Because most people don't lose their dreams suddenly, they lose them gradually by choosing comfort one too many times, delaying one too many days, and convincing themselves that tomorrow will somehow be different without changing today. But the truth is that tomorrow is built from the habits you practice now, and the discipline you apply when no one is forcing you, and the courage you show when no one is clapping. And one day, sooner than you expect, you'll look back and realize that the life you once imagined during quiet nights became possible, not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, wiser, and more patient. And even if your name is never known, your journey never goes viral, and your success never looks flashy from the outside, you'll know something that matters far more. You honored your potential by continuing when stopping would have been simpler, and that is a victory no circumstance can take away. Because the most powerful transformation doesn't happen when the world changes. It happens when you do. And if there's one thing this story should leave you with, it's this. You don't need permission to believe in yourself, you don't need proof to keep going, and you don't need anyone else to understand your journey for it to be valid, because every step forward, no matter how small, is a declaration that you refuse to give up on the life you know you're capable of building. And as long as you keep choosing consistency over comfort, effort over excuses, and belief over fear, you are not lost, you are not late, and you are not failing, you are becoming. And as the years moved forward, he finally understood that the real reward of not quitting was never just the career he built, the stability he earned, or the respect he gained, but the person he became along the way. Because somewhere between the long nights, the quiet mornings, the failures that bruised his confidence, and the responsibilities that forced him to grow up faster than he expected, he stopped seeing himself as someone trying to prove his worth, and started seeing himself as someone responsible for his own life. And that shift changed everything, because once you stop begging the world for validation, you stop giving it the power to break you. And there were still challenges, still moments of doubt, still seasons where progress slowed and pressure increased, but he no longer panicked when things felt uncertain, because uncertainty had become familiar, and familiarity had turned fear into focus. And he began to realize that most people never actually fail at life. They simply abandon themselves when the journey demands patience, discipline, and discomfort. And he refused to do that, because he had already seen what giving up costs: the quiet regret, the endless what if, the slow erosion of self-respect. And he knew he would rather struggle honestly than live comfortably disappointed. And over time, people started asking for his advice, not because he was perfect, but because he was steady, because he didn't collapse under pressure, because he listened more than he spoke. and because he carried himself with a calm confidence that only comes from surviving hard seasons without losing your values. And when he spoke to younger people who felt lost, behind, or invisible, he never told them success was easy or guaranteed. He told them the truth, that it takes longer than you expect, hurts more than you plan for, and tests you in ways no one prepares you for, but that it's still worth it, because every day you choose to keep going, you're voting for the future version of yourself, and those votes eventually add up. And he reminded them that life is not a race against others but a commitment to your own growth, and that comparing your path to someone else's only steals the energy you need to keep moving forward. And as he looked back on his own journey, from that small room with a cracked ceiling to a life built through effort rather than entitlement, he felt gratitude, not for the easy moments, but for the hard ones, because they forced him to develop patience, humility, discipline, and resilience, qualities that no shortcut could ever provide. And perhaps the most powerful realization he came to was that success without inner strength feels empty, but struggle with purpose builds a life that feels meaningful. And if you're listening to this right now feeling exhausted, discouraged, or unsure if your effort even matters, let this be the moment you understand that your story isn't falling apart. It's being written, and chapters that feel slow, heavy, or confusing are often the ones that shape the ending the most. And you don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. You just need the courage to take the next step without guarantees, because clarity doesn't come before action. It comes because of it. And one day, sooner than you think, you'll look back and realize that the days you felt behind were the days you were building endurance, that the nights you felt alone were teaching you self-reliance, and that the moments you wanted to quit were proving how much this dream actually mattered to you. And even if the world never applauds your effort, even if your journey never looks impressive from the outside, you'll know deep down that you stayed true to yourself, that you didn't surrender to fear, distraction, or comfort, and that knowledge brings a peace nothing external can replace. Because at the end of the day, the goal was never to impress others. It was to respect yourself. And if there's one final truth this story leaves behind, it's this: you are not late, you are not weak, and you are not invisible. You are becoming someone stronger than your past and wiser than your doubts. And as long as you keep showing up, keep learning, and keep believing when it's hard, your life will continue moving forward in ways you cannot yet see. And when your story finally reaches the point where everything makes sense, you'll realize that staying consistent when quitting felt easier was the decision that quietly changed everything. And that is how this story ends. Not with noise, not with applause, but with the simple, powerful truth that the person who keeps going always wins in the end.